I was there on Saturday at the Dean Dome. Back and forth game. 13 lead changes, 11 ties, and quite a few empty seats. We might dive into that in a little bit more, Graham. UNC early in the game actually led 30-19 with just under 7 minutes to play in the first half, and Pitt was able to cut the lead down to 35-32 at half, and the game stayed close throughout the second half. Like, no team really led by more than like 3 or 4 points in the second half. And Hubert Davis, head coach North Carolina, characterized the level of desperation the team played with in the win.
You should play like that every day. Every possession, whether it's shoot around, practice, game. That's when we talk. We always talk about it as a team. It's not a sense of urgency, but it's a sense of emergency to make plays on both ends of the floor, whether it's at the beginning of the game or at the end.
We saw them actually make a good defensive stop late in the game again. We'll dive into that here in just a little bit. Just like we saw them make plays late in that comeback win against Boston College, that level of desperation, urgency, emergency, however Hubert Davis wants to define it. But early in the game, Venal Lubin, an undersized center, was strong, especially again early in the game. Carolina's guards were getting inside of Pitt's defense, drawing help from the post, and the weak side help for Pitt really just wasn't there, and Venal Lubin was just there to cash in. He had 9 straight points for Carolina over a span of just over 2 minutes early in the game that put UNC up 12-3. Cadeau had a pair of assists. RJ Davis and Ian Jackson all had assists on all 4 of the made shots there by Venal and Lubin. All in the paint, all in the restricted area. I was actually kind of surprised, Graham, that Pitt didn't switch 1 through 5. We saw Pitt about a week and a half ago when they played in Pitt against North Carolina. They played in Pittsburgh. Switched everything, both on ball and off, and it forced UNC to be an isolation team. Now, maybe Pitt coach Jeff Capel was trying to throw UNC off guard a bit, understanding, hey, Duke did the exact same thing right after we did it, so maybe Hubert Davis with that full week off, get prepared. That's kind of the chess match of it. I mean, the game did come down to the final play, so it's not like it didn't work or this defensive strategy didn't work. Anyway, I was just a little bit surprised by it. So that's one thing that stood out to me. Something Carolina did tremendously well on Saturday. They took care of the basketball. Only 6 turnovers the entire game for UNC. And Pitt themselves only turned it over 9 times. There were 5 fast break points in the entire game. They were all 5 by Carolina. So it wasn't an up and down transition type game. It really was mostly played in the half court, which you would think, knowing UNC's philosophy and mentality, we heard Hubert Davis say it before the year, they want to be the fastest team from free throw line to free throw line. So there weren't a lot of fast break opportunities for either team. Pitt had 6 points off of the 6 UNC turnovers. UNC had 13 points off of the 9 Pitt turnovers. I know Pitt doesn't have the overall size that Duke does. I mean, no one does. But it was pretty dramatic to see the difference that a week makes, especially when you have a full week to emphasize certain aspects of the game. Against Duke, Carolina had 14 turnovers. Against Pitt, the last time that they played, which is the previous 2 games for UNC, they had 15 turnovers against Pitt. That was their last 2 games. Again, they had a week off or a week to prepare for this one. They took care of the basketball, simply put. When guards got inside, they were able to find outlets. They weren't careless with the basketball, weren't trying to make desperate passes. They just took care of the basketball so much better in this game against Pitt. Again, just a couple games ago, week and a half ago when they played Pitt, they turned the ball over 15 times. Just 6 this past Saturday. Where Carolina, Graham, almost lost this game, believe it or not, was the free throw line. That's where they almost lost this game. And I'm not talking about late in the game when Venal and Lubin and Seth Trimble both missing front ends of 1-and-1s. Late. That gave Pitt multiple chances to either tie or take the lead in this game. Not talking about specifically that. The free throw shooting wasn't there in the second half at all. UNC was just 4 of 10 from the line in the second half. 4 of 10. They shot better from 3 in the second half than they did from the free throw line. 4 of 10 in the second half, and it gave Pitt chances. It gave them chances. But defensively, UNC was able to make plays down the stretch. Drake Powell, one of their freshmen, gets a steal with about a minute 15 left. Gets a big-time steal with a minute 15 left. UNC goes down the court. They call a timeout. They draw up something. RJ Davis actually finally makes the key shot. Something he really hasn't done this year when this team has needed it. He's able to dribble, get to the right elbow, makes his shot with 50 seconds left. Ended up being the final score of the game. 52 seconds left. Late in the game, Van Allen Lubin also pulls down a big rebound. He only had 4, but he pulled down a big defensive rebound late. UNC contested everything from Pitt late in the game. And Pitt never really got a good basket late. Pitt actually had the ball down 1 with 16 seconds left, looking to inbound the basketball. UNC's defense able to knock the ball away. The ball actually goes into the front court for North Carolina. Drake Powell tries to jump on it, goes out of bounds with 7 seconds left. Pitt maintains possession, doesn't get a clean look at the basket late in the game.
Reminded me a lot of the Boston College game.
Yeah, 100%.
Similar situation where Pitt kind of just shot themselves in the foot by not being able to inbound the basketball well.
100%. 100%. And that's something that, again, Hubert Davis, we heard that soundbite earlier, about the desperation, as he called not just urgency, but emergency. His words. Hubert Davis, also his words on being able to win close and also a physical game, but also having to carry that momentum into tonight when they play Clemson.
Well, we've been in a lot of these games, I think it's the 10th.
6-4 in one-possession games.
One-possession games, and so we've been there before. And, in the huddle, and on the court, I think one of the things that gives them confidence is that they've been in the situation before. Obviously, sometimes it hasn't gone our way, but there have been times that it has. And one of the things that I've told them, I said, you guys have the answers to the test. We just got to write them down on the paper.
You heard the stat there, 6-10 in one-possession games. So that's 3 points or less. Perfect win? Perfect? No, far from it. But you gotta win when you needed it. I said it on Friday. This was a loser-leaves town match. If you lost this game for 2 teams between Pitt and North Carolina that are on the bubble, it was a must-win game for both. To stay in the conversation. This isn't like, hey, win, you're in. This was to stay in the conversation. Because North Carolina, to me, still on the outside looking in. Now, that win yesterday helped a bunch, but they're still on the outside looking in, and you need help from people in front of you, but you're rooting for other people to lose. Now, North Carolina, the rest of the way, doesn't have a lot of quality games left. They just don't. They can't afford a loss between now and when they play Duke at the end of the year. They can't afford a loss. Actually, I take that back. They play number 23 Clemson tonight. We'll dive into that game a little bit more, but win on the road at Clemson today helps you a bunch. It helps you a bunch. That's going to be a tough turnaround.